So I am supposed to be doing homework right now, but I'm taking a break from that to do something more interesting to me, at least. And this is to talk about appointed times. I actually made a post about appointed times or something, um, and people took that to mean feast days as the appointed times. And that is not what I'm talking about at all. When I talk about appointed times in the end times, we're talking about specific days upon which things are scheduled to begin, but they don't relate to feast days. Specifically, this came into play when and this was years ago, when I was researching Revelation 9. I have written a whole lot of books, and a lot of these are around specific appointed times, beginning points, ending points, all of that. But please do not confuse this with feast days. That is not what I am talking about. I am talking about the fact that the historical timeline has defined beginning and ending points, and everything on the historical timeline has defined beginning and ending points. These are called appointed times because they are not going to change. They are set from the institution of the historical timeline. Everything has been set to occur on a specific day, month, year. Those don't change. Revelation 9, when I was reading this, it became uber clear to me that this is the way that it is. And then once I understood this, I could find what those times are. But we first have to understand that they exist before we can try to find them. If we do not understand that everything is set in stone already in the Bible, incapable of being moved because prophecy can't change, God is locked in to what he wrote in his book. A lot of people don't understand all of what he wrote in his book regarding specific appointed times. So they don't know those appointed times exist, and they think things can just move around. They are in there, which means he's locked into them, which means they can't change. And it's our job to get to know what those are. Revelation 9. The sixth angel sounded. I heard a voice from the four horns of the golden altar, which is before God, saying to the sixth angel, which had the trumpet, loose the four angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. And the four angels were loosed, which were prepared. They were already prepared for a specific hour and a day and a month and a year. When God created the world, he appointed that day for this event. And they have been prepared for that forever, or since they were confined at least. They've been prepared for that, which means it's not changing. So if there is one data point within the 70th week that is specified will not change, and God has said it's not going to change, and the angels are prepared for that to not change, then everything else is set to. Once I understood that, it became a lot easier to search for specific prophecies that are date related. And that's where we can back into everything in the 70th week with specific appointed times. Nehemiah tells you the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem unto the Messiah the Prince is Matthew 21. And then Ezekiel and Daniel tell you when the 70th week will commence. It's day, month, and year specific. And then Joel tells you when the 70th week is going to end, month specific. Every single thing related to the end times is set in stone. And if we are guessing, it is because we haven't read it. We haven't found it. And what the church has done is they have conflated, or they have erroneously assumed that because there is a specific person who doesn't know, that everyone else must not be able to know either. Or because someone wasn't comfortable making an assertion based on what the Bible says, that no one can be comfortable making an assertion about what the Bible says. I don't agree with that. I haven't abided by that. And I have found what the Bible says, and it all works out together. This is the important part of studying, if people want to study the timing of the rapture, whatever. But this is the importance of studying Bible prophecy, is understanding that God has locked himself into specific appointed times, meaning There is a day upon which a specific event will occur within the confines of the 70th week. That's trumpet 6, which means that it already will have been going on for a period of time before that, which means, hey, the beginning and the ending are probably locked in too. And hey, wouldn't you know, yeah, Daniel tells you they are, in conjunction with Ezekiel and in conjunction with Leviticus and in conjunction with Isaiah. They all tell you it's locked in. The most important thing that you can understand if you are truly interested in resolving to know when things are supposed to happen is to understand that there are appointed times that are set in stone and they cannot change. And so our job is to come to understand what those appointed times are. If you are interested in learning them at all, if you're not, that's fine. But don't tell other people that they don't exist, or don't tell other people that they're not supposed to find them, or don't chastise or demean people for looking just because you are not interested. Not everybody has to be interested in the same thing, but one person's level of knowledge does not equate to the highest level ever. There are other people who are allowed to be interested in studying different things than you. There are other people who are allowed to know more than you about certain topics. One of the worst things that we can do is assume that we know everything and anyone who disagrees with us is wrong. The Bible is filled with 66 books with thousands upon thousands of words that none of us are going to be able to completely understand all of because there's not enough time in our lifetimes to study it. You can read the same thing over and over and over and learn new things about it every single time you read it. There is no limitation on what we can learn from the Bible. And so to artificially put a limit on what people are able to know or understand based on our own experiences and our own perspective and our own skill level and our own comprehension is totally wrong to do. If people want to go further than what you want to go or how far you want to go, let them. If people don't want to go as far as you want to go, don't chastise them. Everyone is allowed to study what is interesting to them. But one person's limitations should not be superimposed on another person. The Bible says that there are appointed times, and it shows very clearly in the book of Revelation that there are appointed times. And if there is one thing that has an appointed time, then there are other things. And the Bible tells you what those other things are. The information is available. The appointed times are not always, and most likely aren't ever going to be related to feasts, save for very specific circumstances in the kingdom with regard to them celebrating Passover and unleavened bread and tabernacles. That's it. The other appointed times are not feast related. They are nevertheless appointed times because they are fixed, determinative on a timeline, and they are not going to change, thereby making them appointed.